Brother Litke is an electrical engineer, and he said what college. I think it was Oral Roberts University, I think. And so he's a Christian brother, and he's also an electronics guy, and he's very good with websites. He's helping do some stuff on the websites and helping answer emails also. He originally got involved with the ministry. He was curious about free energy and did some experiments, tested some things, and found out that the QUEET really does make batteries over unity, and he did a testimonial for us, and we appreciate him. There's a number of people that have probably over 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 engineers that have confirmed it works, but most of them are, for different reasons, they're hesitant to do video testimonies. A lot of them have done written testimonials, but different reasons. Mainly, I would say most of them aren't willing to work as a team. They were trying to get all the glory and honor for themselves, and and of course, the glory and honor belongs to God. Anyway, Brother Litke, are you there? Well, you attended Brigham Young University, is that correct? No, not.
No, it was actually Oral Roberts University.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. That is what I said. I've been awake for 48 hours or more, and so my brain goes into neutral sometimes.
It's okay, man. It's all right.
I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, and you guys take it away.
Okay, thank you, brother. Appreciate your help. Appreciate your help. All right. What do you want to share? We were happy to have you on the show again, and we're glad you shared some things last week, and we could reiterate a little bit for the listeners that you had tested the QUEET and you found it was over unity, and so with the right battery, of course, it works with most batteries, but certain ones work better than others. Did you have some other things you wanted to add today, brother?
Yeah, it was funny because you asked me last week. You kind of put me on the spot, and my brain should work better than it did. But you asked me. You thought I had worked on some other free energy stuff before that, and I realized after the call, I've been looking at this one contraption I made that I never really got working right because I didn't like. Well, because it wasn't free energy at all. I mean, it was just one of those HHO things I made. I went to Walmart and got a bunch of stainless steel bowls, and I put them all kind of interleaved with each other, and it worked. It generated hydrogen and oxygen, which is great, but it doesn't do much good if it pulls 70 amps from your car. So there's not. I ran into a standstill with that because it just ate too much current. But I was on the right track. And then another thing, I tried a little Adams motor probably a year before that because I saw someone doing it on YouTube, and he claimed he was getting free energy, and it was powering a generator that was charging a 12-volt battery and all that. And so I did what he said he was doing, and of course it didn't work. And then most recently, it was the first part of last year, 2010, I got on the Bedini Monopole 3 group, and they have really detailed instructions on how to build a Bedini motor, and so I did that. I followed the instructions, and I could never get it to charge consistently. It wouldn't even. Yeah, I mean, that was basically it. I kept burning out. I mean, like they tell you on there, you're going to burn out your components, and there's only two diodes and a transistor in there, and you protect. You're basically powering this big coil. You're just pulsing it, and you get the right kind of magnets. And I did everything like what they said. I guess the one thing I didn't do was get the right diodes in the beginning, and so, but I changed out those diodes so many times along with the transistor. After it seemed like it wasn't quite working right, you'd find the sweet spot, and then it wouldn't charge. I mean, it would act like it had enough juice on the output to charge the battery, but it wasn't charging. So anyway, that never materialized with that, and then something else.
That is a typical. I'll make a comment there. That is a typical comment with the Bedini stuff, and even John Bedini himself has said that his stuff is not over unity. He's recently said that, although he used to say for years it was. And I'm not sure why he's saying that now, whether it's just to confuse people or what. But I don't know, but I've seen it recently in print where he's the author, and it says that his over unity stuff is not over unity, or his stuff is not over unity, is what he says.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that more people have had problems with that, because, you know, so far all I'm proving is that I'm just a really bad technician.
So. No, you're a good technician, because you did get the QUEET. You did it like I told you, and I didn't have to. I don't think I had to consult with you all that much to tell you how to put the thing on the battery, and you got it working. You tested it first before you put it on, and your battery was like 85% efficient, if I remember right. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was between 85 and 90% efficient.
Yeah, and then
which is kind of what I expected.
After you cycled it a while with the QUEET on it, it went up to the best. The best result was around 115%. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So 115%.
So that's about a 30% increase in efficiency.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually, it wasn't just one test, and I got over unity, and I shouted, "Yippee!" You know, I actually couldn't believe it, and I went back and I got fresh batteries, got those, you know, charged, did the same exact process that I had gotten to get over unity on the on the ones where I had the QUEET taped to them, and it would not go over unity. So it was pretty clear to me that it plateaued, you know, just under 90, probably 90%, 95%, somewhere around there on those. And
yeah, the ones that do not have the QUEET, just a regular battery being cycled is what you're saying, right?
Exactly. And then put the QUEET on it and just kept cycling it. And after about 10 cycles, it was doing over unity again.
Yeah, yeah. And we've had them here, believe it or not, that are about 200 times. Well, let's see. Let me make sure I'm not telling people wrong. The power, if the power goes, let's see, it would be about 5 to 60. So that's 5 into 60 is about, my brain's a little slow, 12. So 12 times over unity. We've had that. Some people have estimated that one 20 times over unity. That's what I was going to say at first. But so about 12 times over unity on one particular battery. That's the best one of all the batteries I've ever tested. And I've tested over 100 different batteries with the QUEET to see what's the most efficient. And generally speaking, you know, over unity, 115% or something like that is what people are going to see. 125%, somewhere in that range, if they do the experiment right. But it does prove that you can put something external to an electrical system and increase the efficiency, which is not supposed to happen, is it? In regular electrical engineering, electronic engineering.
Yeah, you're never supposed to see that, from what I understand.
Yeah. In advanced physics, they accept these things, and even advanced, the top secret government stuff, they teach it and all that. But as far as what they want people, the average person knowing, the average listener, he's going to get brainwashed to believe it's impossible. Yet they're flying their stealth aircraft and everything else. A lot of machines they are flying already on these type of technologies. And if you read between the lines carefully, you find out that they really are. They admit it, but you gotta be willing to research with an open mind before you'll see it in print.
Yeah, and just so some people are asking what a QUEET is, and I can show them just a little example here. Yeah. Basically, it's I don't know if you can see that, but it's basically just a little strip of some kind of metal material that you guys make, and you know, it's basically, like you said, nanotech.
Yeah, it's nanotechnology. Actually, billions of circuits in there. It's 3 different layers, and they're so closely bonded with an insulation layer between them. It's all so close that you need an electron microscope to understand it, to even get an idea of how it's made or so on. A lot of people, like you say, they think it's just a strip of metal and it's got some kind of coating on it or something is what they think. But there's just like a SIM card, when you first look at a SIM card, you think that's just a flat piece of metal too, you know. Yet it's storing billions of bits of information. So that's the QUEET is not storing billions of bits of information. It's enhancing billions of flows of dominant energy in the environment. And any electrical system it comes in contact with, it will it'll amplify, including the human body, and that's the reason it works so good for health and healing and so on, because the human body is an electrical system. And those, go ahead.
I was going to say I tried this. You told me that when I first got it that it'll help headaches a lot of times, and so I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I never get headaches, but I had opportunity to test it on some people. So my little sister who lives with us one day, like just a couple days later, she's like, "Man, I really woke up with a headache." So I just had her put it on the side of her, her head, and just kind of sit there right between her ear. And I said, "Well, just give it a few seconds and see if anything happens." And I asked her again in 30 seconds, and she said it was completely gone. And then my wife, who's super skeptical about anything that's not, a pill or medical, in any way, she had the same thing a few days later, headache, and I put it on her, and I talked to her a couple, I don't know, probably 2 minutes later, and she was going on and on about how bad this headache was, and so then all of a sudden she just quit talking about it, and I said, "Hey, is that headache still there?" And she could not believe it. She's like, "It's gone." I mean, she literally was floored by that.
So did she kind of change her attitude about the ministry? I know she's a little cool about our ministry there at first.
Yeah, she's fine. It's one of the things. I mean, it obviously doesn't work for everything, and we've had situations where we tried to use it and didn't really seem to have any effect. But again, I can't deny the results on the knife on the batteries. Yeah.
Well, when you didn't have an effect, that was usually when you say you tried to use them. That was for healing, probably, right?
Yeah.
And that was something deeper inside the body, usually, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it was like a deep tissue pain, they said that it didn't really seem to affect.
Well, it will. Those type of pain, it will help, but you have to wear them longer. You may have to wear them overnight. It's best to have some sort of large Band-Aid to put it on to help it hold it in place. And you might need more than one to get good results. 2 or 3, or a larger one. That's the size of 2 or 3 together. Those will help with internal problems, like if people are having liver problems or kidney problems or something like that, and then it'll help with that. But it is a slower headaches. Your brain has a lot of nerves close to the skin, so headaches, it works just like it's something surface, and also like if you get a bruise or something falls on you, or you got an ache in your neck or ache in your back, it works really good for getting rid of the pain and speeding up the healing. In just about all the cases. The only time it don't work is if people are just negative, and because we do program these things with your mind or with your belief system, with your spirit is really what it is. So these things are designed to pick up that energy that comes from your mind, and if it's a positive energy, it'll amplify. If it's a negative energy, we put some protection in there, but I could easily see negative people not getting any results, or possibly getting bad results. We had 2 people claim bad results out of about 1 million people, and so 999,098.
That's pretty good percentage.
That's pretty good percentage. That's far better than
way better than any drug I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Not that we're claiming this is a medical device, of course.
No, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, it's not a medical device, but people can still use it, and it's got spiritual healing in it, so we can offer it that way. Paul sent out handkerchiefs to people, and so we can offer it that way. There's spiritual energy. If you pray over anything, it's got spiritual energy in it, and so that's yeah. So any listeners that are interested, are you getting questions? I'm not getting any questions, so maybe we just don't have very many.
No, I'm just seeing things pop up on Justin TV. Like somebody's talking. Somebody says, "Is it an ether amplifier of positive resonant energy, sort of like the Rife frequencies?"
Yeah, ether amplifier of positive resonant energies.
Yeah, he says, is it an ether amplifier of positive resonant energy?
Yeah, it'll amplify even if it's not resonant. It'll amplify. It's designed to amplify any flow, except there are restrictions on the negative flows. So it's not going to amplify negative flows very good. Although like I said, we did have 2 people out of 2 million that somehow did manage, or at least they claim they managed to get it to amplify negative stuff. So they got bad results. So obviously you don't want to amplify negative stuff and expect good results. That's anyway. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's even if it's not resonant, it'll amplify. You can say, yeah, it'll amplify ether energy, any kind of energy flow, even electrons. It'll amplify it. If it wouldn't amplify electrons, you wouldn't be able to read it as a higher efficiency on your meter. But so that shows it's even helping with electrons. But ether is even better. Dominant energy, what he's calling ether energy, is probably what is really dominant: the polar, dipolar, parapolar, the triune polar field, and that is what is designed to amplify the most.
And somebody was asking how to get one, and obviously we want to make clear the ministry doesn't sell these, but if somebody wants to help the cause, there are, just shoot an email to wits2014@yahoo.com, or go to wits.ws website, and there's a list of all the different things you can, gifts you can request in return.
Yeah, anybody that's donated to the cause can request gifts, and you're encouraged to do that. Nothing wrong with doing that. People that help with the cause are part of the team, and the team, we got to keep the team healthy and strong and all that good stuff. So, that's how we work. And so it's great. Yeah, wits.ws or witts.ws is the website. And in case that didn't come out clear while Brother Tim Litke was speaking there, the email, just shoot an email to wits2014, but you can also just order it right off the website. And there's going to be there is a $50 QUEET. Anybody that wants one, get one for $50. If you order 2, you get them for $40 a piece, something like that. Donation. I shouldn't say we don't sell them, but a donation, $80, you get 2 of them. Also, if you want a consultation, then you get a couple hours of consultation strictly regarding the QUEET, not regarding anything you want to consult about. But you get up to 2 hours if you want to do the experiments like you did, Brother Litke, and where you put it on a battery. Then you may need 2 hours of consultation to make sure you're getting the right kind of battery, and to make sure you're getting you're measuring correctly, volts times amps, and the time factor is something that many engineers overlook on DC measurements. Wouldn't you say, Brother Litke?
Yeah, that wasn't real obvious to me. I mean, you go through engineering school and you do engineering has very specific fields, and you can go to school and 20 years later, if you haven't done specific lab experiments that are exactly like this, you're probably going to be a little rusty on what to expect and exactly how you need to.
Yeah, the bottom line with electricity measurements on DC, and this is DC because it's batteries, so it's volts times amps, but a volt times an amp for 1 second is a lot less power than a volt times an amp for a minute. It's 1/60th as much, and that right there confuses people. I've had people tell me, volt times an amp for 1 second is exactly equal to a volt times amp per minute, and it's not. And some of them will try to say it's the same as an hour, and it's not. So if people can get that clear in their head, then they can do the math, and that's the only thing. I'd say that's the most common with DC measurements. That's the most common problem, and with AC measurements, what would you say the most common problem is, brother?
Well, not having a meter that accurately measures whatever kind of AC you're doing, which you got to have something that's true RMS, I think, and you have to be measuring frequencies that are within the range of that meter.
Yeah,
so
you have to measure. What I was going to say is you have to measure phase angle. That's often forgotten. You can actually have voltage and amperage 90 degrees out of phase, and you could have a million volts and a million amps theoretically, and still have 0 watts. And people don't understand that, but that's absolutely the truth. And so people need to understand that when they're measuring AC, but that's not, the QUEET has nothing, well, it does amplify AC, but primarily you'll be measuring it with DC because it's easier to measure. You won't have those kind of issues. Although, that question did come up on the YouTube videos. One of the guys was asking that question, and I think a good way to answer them, and I'm going to answer this for the audience too, is if you can see all the batteries pulled out and plainly see that, there's no hidden wire or anything else, that you can lift all the way around the device and so on, lift it up, whatever. And I always do that for people. Then it should be obvious that if it's running fine without battery, it should be obvious it's producing more energy, especially if there's lights lit up and so on. It is producing more energy than it takes to run it, basically. Because capacitors only hold energy for a short period of time, especially small capacitors. Am I right, brother?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I say, on the one video that the one guy was trying to give you a hard time about, the capacitors were all in series, and you can see that in the video, I think. And I think each one of those is about 0.01 microfarads, or maybe it's 0.1 microfarads, but you series 6 or 8 of them, and you get some pretty small microfarads.
Right.
You get high voltage, but you're not going to store in a second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds. It would easily deplete even one of those lights that are flashing. So obviously the power is coming from somewhere else other than batteries or capacitors or whatever.
Yeah, we get a lot of knuckleheads on YouTube that just want to flame, I think. And it's what they call flaming, where they just want to anger you.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't know what it's called, but we love them anyway, and we'll pray for them. And one of these days, God will hit them with a lightning bolt, and then they'll know what real free energy is. I always tell people who don't believe in free energy, they should go fly a kite in a thunderstorm, and they'll find all the free energy they can imagine.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, well, it's good having you on, brother. Did you have any I don't see any other questions. I guess maybe we just don't have very many tonight. Maybe it's a smaller audience than usual.
Somebody's actually asking a couple here. What is a positive way to enlighten those who decry violation of the laws of thermodynamics?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, positive way, you mean like not, a flying kite and a thunderstorm don't count for lightning them?
Yeah, like not telling them go play in the street, in other words.
Yeah. Well, okay. You want to answer that one? You got a positive idea, or should I do it?
I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, it's important. I'm a physicist, and it's important to realize that the laws of thermodynamics only apply to closed systems. And a closed system is a theoretical construct that in reality does not exist, as far as I've ever found. So that means that the laws of thermodynamics do not have any real application that I've ever found. They're any real honest application. And basically, if you're pretty sure you do have a closed system, you can use those laws and they do hold up. But most systems do have gravity permeating, with gravity as a type of energy force. There's a number of different forces that are quite prevalent and quite permeable to all systems. And so it only applies to closed systems, and quantum energy, harnessing quantum energy, is not a closed system. Did you have anything you want to add?
No, I love it. I think probably just people that are, even engineers, they will say probably that, well, pretty much everything we work with is a closed system. Well, I think it's, like you said, a theoretical construct that it's kind of like you simplify real life so that you can put an equation on it and get a predictable outcome.
Yeah. And if you're careful, most capacitors are closed capacitors, and most inductors are closed inductors. When they make the iron, the laminated iron or laminated nickel, whatever it is, go all the way around the wire, you get a pretty good closed inductor. And so in that inductor, it will apply. Those rules will apply in that inductor. And they apply pretty good, not 100%. Sometimes you get, if you add up the energy, sometimes you will get, if you add the heat and the radiated RF and the watts that you're getting through the thing, sometimes you get over unity, but it's usually marginal and minimal. So it does apply a lot of times to what's been built standard, but our systems, we don't try to close, certain parts of them have to be open to work properly. If they're not open into the environment or into the ether, then they're not going to work.
I did want to ask. Do you ever want to talk about your car modifications? The car you used to have?
Yeah, well, we've done a bunch of cars over the years, and yeah, this is as good as time as any to talk about them. There's probably been at least 12 cars that I know of that the ministry has done for other people and for ourselves and for demonstrations. Some of them run on water, some of them run on dominant energy, and there's many different ways to do it. Are you still hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I just got a sign flashed up on my screen that says no microphone detected, whatever that means. So, anyway.
Sounds good here.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so is that what you were curious about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cars can be made to run. They are, expensive project, typically in the $20 million range. They can be made to run 100% in quantum energy, where you never have to plug them in. We have motors that can be mass-produced for less than that, maybe $10 million range, that would be electric motors that would run way over unity, where you could put an alternator on the car, an efficient alternator, and closed loop it, where you don't have to buy any fuel or ever plug in your car. And these things have been done. Like I said, there's been about 12 of them done, 12 different types. About half of them, 5 or 6 of them running on water, and the other 6 or 7 running on dominant energy. So it is available. It has been being done for about 140 years now. The first car was done was a custom-made car back in the late 1870s by the ministry under Nathan Stubblefield. The second, that's not the 12 I've seen. These are before I was alive, of course. I think the third or fourth one the ministry did is the famous Tesla Roadster that Tesla drove around in. You've heard about that one, right?
Oh, no, I hadn't.
Oh, you hadn't heard about the Tesla Roadster?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the Tesla Roadster was demonstrated to a very wealthy group, bankers, I guess. Tesla and his nephew drove it up to Canada, and his nephew's the one that wrote about it. The nephew was the driver. I don't remember at least it's usually referred to as the nephew of Tesla. I think that's who he was. I don't remember his name, but yeah, you can look it up online. I'm pretty sure there's articles where they talk about how it performed. But basically, he kept the key components in a small box that he would plug into the car, and that way he could take it with him and nobody could steal the car. It wouldn't work without it, basically. It's kind of interesting design. That's why Tesla did the Roadster. And of course, I think it was called the Roadster. I might be getting it wrong. The Tesla, yeah, it might have been a different kind of car. But anyway, it was a standard car that he had converted to run on dominant energy. And I believe the motor, if I remember what I read right, that the electric motor inside of it was a polyphase, 3-phase probably motor, that, like Tesla was, famous for developing and building and getting out into the world. And then probably the 4th or 5th or 6th electric car was the Brandt design, which a lot of people still alive today got to test that. I'd say over 100 independent engineers tested the Brandt designs, and that's the one that's called the Brandt Tesla switch, and sometimes called the Brandt Bedini Tesla switch. Over 100 independent engineers that weren't part of the ministry tested the motor, the electric car. Did you hear about that one, Brother Litke?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that one was driven all over the place, and all over the western United States, I'll say, and they were trying to get it back from him the whole time. When I say get it back from the main parts, they were government surplus parts. They were able to handle the power, basically, and because the power, dominant energy does require specialized parts, but we can get those parts. I'll put it that way. They're not necessarily the easiest thing to get, but they are gettable now, and they were then also. It's just depends on what. Yeah, there it is, the Pierce Arrow. Somebody, Brother Martin. Yeah, The Roadster is a new car that they're calling the Tesla Roadster, and that's
Okay.
where it's coming from. That's one that's out now. It's an electric car that's out now. But
Yeah, but there's nothing special about that one. It's just that it's
No.
totally electric.
Yeah, it's totally electric. They claim it'll go further than normal, but I don't think much. But yeah, the Pierce Arrow was the one from the 1920s that Tesla. That was probably the fourth or fifth car that the ministry did, maybe the sixth car that the ministry did, and then the Brandt one would have been the seventh. Now Brandt actually did three different cars. The ministry under Brandt, I'll put it that way. When Brandt was spokesman, there was three different cars. Before I came along, and after I came along, there's been 12, about 12, and some of those, even those three, were water powered or ether powered. You can actually run a combustion engine on dominant energy straight. The air itself will combust under the right conditions, and that's what a Joe cell. That's what a Joe cell does, basically.
Oh.
You've heard the famous Joe from Australia.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So other people, a lot of guys, for some reason, have a knack for engines, and I've never quite I never had a knack for engines myself, and so they have a knack for engines, and some people. And Ron Brandt was one of those kind of guys, a master combustion engineer. He was an electrical engineer, combustion engineer, and pretty good mechanical and structural engineer also. Just a master engineer, and I'd say combustion was probably one of his, if not his greatest skill, pretty close to his greatest skill. And he was the first one that I know of that ran a car on air, basically, and not compressed air either. We're talking about combusting air. It's dominant energy that causes air to combust. And he actually altered an engine way before Joe was ever born. And Wilhelm Reich claimed that he did it also, but I think probably Ron was before Wilhelm Reich on that also. Ron Brandt. So that's a technology that we'll no doubt see used if mankind continues to progress. We'll no doubt see it used again in the future.
Wow.
I have a couple questions here. Do you have something?
No, go ahead. I was going to read you a couple questions, but go ahead if you got them.
Well, maybe this is one of them you got. This is from Brother Martin. It says, Dr. Nick Begich talks about the Earth having a natural pulse frequency of 7.83 hertz. Do you have a view on this? Yeah. Do you have a view on it, Brother Litke?
I don't know. I've always read that that goes way back. But I know that's one of the things Tesla said too, I thought. Yeah,
absolutely. It does have a frequency around there. It does vary a little bit depending on who knows what factors, but it does vary. But yeah, there is a frequency right around there that the Earth has. The Earth also has a frequency right around 1 million cycles. A lot of people don't know that. And that's one of the reasons I think that RF transmit's so good, is because the Earth has a frequency right there. So it has more than one favorite frequency, if you want to say it that way. Yeah, okay, and then the next question, can you talk about pyramids as power generators, and what kind of power comes from them, Brother Jim? Yes, Brother Jim. Did you have a comment on that, Brother Litke?
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. They don't actually generate the power, just like a quantum energy. We call them generators, but they don't actually generate. They're actually harnessing quantum energy. Same thing with a pyramid. The magnetism goes straight across from one face to the other, and that particular angle winds up splitting off from the magnetic flow a certain type of energy that builds up in the pyramid. That energy is basically the same as the polar of the dominant energy field. So that builds up, it concentrates in there a little bit like a laser concentrates light. The light coming out is much denser than the light that went in, and much more energy, if you want to say it that way. And so laser's over unity, and so is a pyramid. They're both over unity accumulators, power accumulators that wind up giving out power. So you can call them generators if you want to. And that's basically, you can put a plant at the tip. We've had whole shows on pyramids, so I encourage Brother Jim to look up the old shows. Brother Litke, tell us where the old shows are, all the different shows that we've done.
From the very beginning, we've got them out on Vimeo.com/World Improvement, all one word.
Vimeo, V-I-M-I-O?
Actually, it's Vimeo.
Vimeo.com//world improvement, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we've had lengthy discussions about pyramids before, but yeah, we always appreciate the questions, and the power that comes from them is very useful for healing, just like all dominant energy is useful for healing, and it can generate electricity too if you know how to condense it enough. It'll become like electric-like. It's not electricity, but it's like electricity. And then that can be converted into regular electrons. Anyway, did you have any other questions there, brother?
I'm reading through here. Let's see.
We might have got them all.
Yeah, it's possible.
Brother Greg's forwarded them on to me. And thank you, Brother Jim, for your questions. We appreciate it. And Brother Martin, we appreciate his questions. Brother Greg Martin, we appreciate his questions.
Hey, real quick,
go ahead.
I was going to ask you, this is right up your alley too. When it comes to praying for healing for animals, you know, obviously the faith of the animal is not in the way, right?
Right. Not usually. Most animals trust the human right away.
Okay. So really the dependent factor would be the faith of the person that's praying for the animal? Okay.
Yeah. You know, there's also, like I say, there's sometimes you need agreement in prayer. It depends on how many unclean spirits. You know, there was a legion of spirits that went into the hogs, and we don't know how many hogs there were. I don't know, maybe 1,000 hogs. But if there's a legion, that's 10,000. If there was 1,000 hogs and there's 10,000 unclean spirits, that's 10 unclean spirits for each hog. And that Jesus cast out of that man and went into the hogs. And the hogs all wound up running over a cliff and killing themselves almost right away. So sometimes it's good to have somebody else agree with you in prayer, because one of us can put 1,000 to flight and two of us can put 10,000. So it depends on what the situation is. But yeah, God loves to heal animals, and I've been blown away to see how many animals are healed. A few times the animal did not get healed, and that I could see, and I don't understand that, but you know, that's what happens. But the majority of times, the animal did get healed, and so it could have been a weakness of faith on my part for the animal, but and you know, of course, I see humans that don't get healed too, and then I often say, well, it's a weakness of their faith, but you know, it could be a weakness of my faith as well. You know, we won't put it all on them. Everybody's faith has a contributing factor, just like everybody's positive thoughts have a contributing factor for good. And if everybody thinks negative, that's a contributing factor for bad. So everybody's involved. People try to say we're all separate, but we're not. We're really all connected in the Spirit or in the Lord.
Okay.
Brother Martin is good at saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree, yeah. Did you have another question for us, brother?
Let's see. Just reading through the list here.
Feel free to give their name if they give it, and what state they're in. Anybody that sends in a question, and we're going to have it in future shows where they can call in my number. I'll give out the number next time, a phone number. They can actually call in and be on the show live if they want to.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's lots more things we could talk about, but
yeah, we've done about an hour. Yeah, we've done about an hour, and it's been excellent having the show, and excellent having you on again, brother. We really appreciate your work, and we'll talk more one-to-one tomorrow. And everybody else, you know, keep up the good work out there. We appreciate having people listening and working together. We can make this thing happen. We've got great plans. We're going to do some more work with the gravity motors. We've got great plans to release one real soon, and you know, this may be we've released it before and it went nowhere because we didn't do it right. So we've got to really come up with a plan that makes sense, that people are going to get behind it and make it happen. That which costs nothing is worth nothing, unfortunately, is the way most people think, and that's the reason it didn't work out before, is we weren't charging anything. It was free for anybody that wanted it, and not one person ordered it in a year and a half. We had it up on our website, and it's amazing. But anyway, hopefully this time we'll have a plan that makes more sense, and you live and learn. And you know, same thing with the flux switch transformer. Most of the people that built it were people. Most people claimed to build it were people that we actually sent a working model, just to show you how hard that one was to give away. So before we said any suggested donations, it was hard to give away. Something about people, they see that they need to spend a little money, then all of a sudden it becomes worth something. So that's the way people think, I guess. It's amazing to me, but anyway, because I'm the kind of guy that says, well, the best thing in life is free. I'm the kind of guy that says, well, a walk in the park, or a walk by the river, or a rope swing over the river. The best things in life are free. That's the kind of way I think, but most people don't think that way.
Yeah. I think it's just human nature.
Yeah. Anyway, God bless everybody. It's really good to have everybody on the show and listening, and privileged to have you, Brother Timothy Litke, helping out. We really appreciate that. And again, when anybody addresses emails, if you're trying to address it to Sir Timothy or to John or Brother Litke, try to make that clear. We get a lot of them to say Tim or Dear Tim or Tim, just Tim, and I don't know who that is. We've got a lot of Tims, so try to make it clear. John does the same thing. He said, "Who is this?" I don't know who it is. I don't know who it's to or anything else. So John will write him back. I'll write him back and say, "Please clarify." So anyway, anybody emails us, please clarify. We're rich in Timothys, so don't make it just say Timothy. So let us know who you're trying to get our letters to. All right, God bless you guys.
God bless you too, Timothy. Good night.
You take care. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. We're signing out. Brother Martin, sign out if you can.
Yeah, I think I'm here. We ready
Okay.
to? We're going off the air, everybody.